People think betrayal looks like screaming, like fists, like slammed doors, like a dramatic walkout. But the worst betrayal? It's quiet. It happens in whispers, in sweet sentences said with a smile while a child is listening. My name is Ethan Carter, and the day my family decided they didn't like the man I became, they didn't attack me directly. They attacked the one thing I loved more than my own life, my son. His name is Noah. He's 7 years old. He still believes the world is mostly good. He still thinks adults tell the truth. He still hugs me like I'm the strongest man alive. At least, he used to. It started with small changes. Noah stopped running to me when I came to pick him up. Instead, he'd stand behind his grandma's legs, looking at me like I was someone he wasn't sure about. When I'd say, "Hey buddy, what's going on?" he'd shrug and whisper, "Nothing." But his eyes said something else. His eyes said he was scared or confused. And nothing makes your heart drop like seeing your own child afraid of you. At first, I blamed myself. Maybe I'd been too strict lately. Maybe I'd worked too much. Maybe the divorce had hurt him more than I realized. Because yes, his mother, Mia, and I were separated. Not officially divorced yet, but separated. And let me make one thing clear. Mia was not my enemy. We didn't split because we hated each other. We split because my family got their hands into our marriage like parasites, and Mia got exhausted fighting them. And I kept believing it would get better. I kept telling her, "They're my family, they'll calm down." But Mia wasn't weak. She saw it before I did. They weren't trying to calm down. They were trying to win. They wanted control. And when Mia stepped away, my family saw their chance. They couldn't control her anymore, so they decided to control the child. I first noticed something off during one of Noah's weekend visits at my parents' house. I came early to pick him up, thinking I'd surprise him with ice cream. I walked into the living room and saw Noah sitting on the carpet playing with his dinosaur toys. My mother, Janice, was sitting on the couch with her arms crossed like she was holding court. My father, Robert, sat in his chair, silent, heavy, watching like a judge. And my sister, Haley, was holding her phone like she was texting someone. Everything looked normal, but it felt staged, like I had walked into the middle of a play. The second Noah saw me, he froze. Not happy, not excited, frozen. My heart twisted. I forced a smile. "Hey, champ, guess what? I brought ice cream." Noah's eyes flickered to my mother like he was waiting for permission. That's when I felt the first real panic. My mother leaned forward and said gently, "Noah, honey, it's okay, you can go with your dad." Her voice was sweet, too sweet, the kind of voice you use when you're calming a scared dog. And I understood immediately. They had already planted something in his head. Because why would a child need reassurance to go with his own father? Noah slowly walked to me. He didn't hug me, he just stood there. When I reached for his hand, he flinched. A tiny flinch, but it hit me like a punch. My blood ran cold. I lowered my voice. "Noah, did something happen?" He shook his head quickly. "No." I looked up at my mother. "What did you tell him?" Her eyebrows lifted. "Excuse me?" I looked at my father. "Dad?" He didn't even look at me, just stared at the TV that wasn't even on. My sister smiled like she was amused. "Ethan, don't be dramatic." Dramatic. That word is what people use when they know they're wrong, but want you to sound crazy for noticing. I swallowed the anger. I bent down to Noah. "Buddy, we're okay. We're going home." Noah nodded, but it wasn't a child's nod. It was the nod of someone repeating what they were trained to say. On the drive home, Noah barely spoke. When I asked about school, he answered in one word. When I asked if he wanted to stop for ice cream, he said, "I don't deserve it." I almost swerved off the road. I pulled over immediately. "What did you say?" I asked. Noah stared at his lap. Grandma said when someone lies, they don't deserve treats. My mouth went dry. What lie? I whispered. He didn't answer. He just started crying silently. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. My family wasn't just poisoning Noah against me, they were teaching him to fear me, and I had no idea why. Not yet, but I was about to find out.
That night, I couldn't sleep. Not because I was tired, because my mind wouldn't stop replaying that moment. Noah flinching, Noah not hugging me, Noah crying in silence like he'd been trained not to make noise. When a child changes that fast, you don't ask what happened. You ask, who did this? I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, hearing my mother's voice in my head. It's okay, you can go with your dad. Like my son was being handed to a stranger. I wanted to drive back to my parents' house and demand answers, but I knew them. My parents were experts at one thing, turning every accusation into a character flaw. If I confronted them too aggressively, they would say I was unstable. If I cried, they would say I was manipulative. If I got angry, they would say I was dangerous. They didn't fight with facts, they fought with impressions, and they loved planting impressions in people's minds. So instead of rushing in, I did what I'd never done before. I started paying attention. The next morning, I made Noah pancakes, his favorite. He used to jump on the stool and help me pour syrup, but now he sat at the table quietly, both hands folded like he was at school. I smiled softly. "Hey, buddy, what's with the serious face?" Noah hesitated. "I'm being good." "You're always good," I said, trying to keep my tone light. Noah shook his head. "Grandma said I have to watch what I say at your house." My hand froze midair. "Watch what you say?" He nodded, eyes serious. "Because you get mad." I stared at my son like I was looking at someone else's child. "Noah, when have I ever gotten mad at you?" He blinked like he was searching his memory, but then his face tightened. "I don't remember." That sentence almost broke me. Because kids remember. They remember the first time you take them fishing. They remember silly songs you make up. They remember what you said when they fell and scraped their knee. But Noah didn't remember me being angry. He remembered being told that I was angry. There's a difference, and that difference is a poison. After breakfast, I took Noah to the park. I wanted to rebuild what I felt slipping through my fingers. We walked to the swings, and at first, it was normal. Noah laughed. He climbed. He chased pigeons like they'd personally offended him. For a moment, I breathed again. Then my phone buzzed, a text from my sister Haley. "Hey, buddy, how's Noah? He okay? Don't push him too hard. He's sensitive." I stared at the message. It wasn't concern. It was surveillance disguised as concern. I typed back. Me. "He's fine. Why?" 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Haley. "Just making sure he's safe, that's all." Safe? From me? I looked up and saw Noah sliding down the slide, smiling. A kid should never need to be safe from his father. That word didn't belong in my life, but my family was trying to make it belong. When we got home, Noah asked for his tablet. I normally limited screen time, but I said yes. Not because I was giving up, because I needed to think. I sat across from him and watched. Noah wasn't watching cartoons. He was watching family videos. Old videos. Videos of him at Grandma's house, at Grandpa's house, with Aunt Haley. They had their own little playlist, and every video was polished. Perfect smiles, perfect hugs, perfect captions, like a commercial. And suddenly, I remembered something. My sister Haley had started documenting family memories last year. She said it was for Noah. Now it felt like something else, like a campaign, like propaganda. Noah clicked the next video. It showed my mom holding Noah saying, "Tell the camera who loves you the most." Noah giggled. "I love Grandma." Everyone laughed. Then my mom said, "And who always makes you feel safe?" Noah answered again, "Grandma." The laughter was louder, but my stomach turned because the way she asked, it wasn't playful, it was programmed. She was training his answers. I reached over and gently turned down the volume. Noah looked up at me instantly, his eyes anxious. "What?" I asked, keeping my voice calm. "Grandma said I'm not allowed to turn it down." "Who said that?" Noah's lips trembled. "Aunt Haley said you might delete the videos if you get mad." My face went cold. Delete the videos? Why would I delete them? Unless those videos were more important than they looked. Unless those videos were evidence of what they wanted the world to believe, that they were the safe ones and I was the risk. I stood up and walked to the kitchen because my hands were shaking too hard. I leaned on the counter and closed my eyes. My son was being coached, not just against me, but against the truth. That evening, I called Mia. She answered on the second ring. "Hey," she said softly, "is Noah okay?" That question alone told me she knew. I swallowed. "Ethan, something's wrong. He's scared of me." There was silence. Then she whispered, "Ethan, they're doing it." My throat tightened. Doing what? Mia hesitated, like she didn't want to say it out loud. Then she said the words that made my skin go cold. "They're building a case." "A case for what?" I asked. Mia's voice shook. "To take Noah from you permanently."
I couldn't breathe after Mia said that. A case. Who builds a case against a father? Not a stranger, not a court, a family. The kind of family that smiles in photos and destroys you behind closed doors. I drove to Mia's apartment that night. It was late, but she let me in immediately. Noah was asleep on the couch under a blanket, hugging his stuffed shark. Seeing him like that, peaceful, hurt even more. Mia pulled me into the kitchen. Under the yellow light, she looked exhausted. Not tired, exhausted. Like someone who'd been fighting an invisible war. "I didn't want to tell you," she said. "I hoped it would stop." "What did they do?" I asked, voice low but sharp. Mia took a deep breath. "They've been asking Noah questions." "What kind of questions?" She looked at me like she was about to hand me a grenade. The kind that don't belong in a kid's mouth. My stomach flipped. "Mia, tell me." Mia swallowed. "They ask him if you yell, if you hit things, if you scare him, if you ever touch him inappropriately." My vision blurred with rage. I couldn't even say the word. Mia nodded quickly. I know, it's disgusting, but they do it carefully, like a game, like truth or dare. They don't make it obvious." I slammed my palm on the counter before I could stop myself. Noah stirred on the couch. Mia grabbed my wrist instantly. Don't give them what they want." I froze, because she was right. My family wanted me angry. They wanted me emotional. They wanted me to slip, to shout, to break something, so they could say, "See, he's unstable." I whispered, "Why would they do this?" Mia's eyes filled with tears. "Because they never forgave you," she said. "For what?" She hesitated, then said something that felt like a knife. "Because they never forgave you for leaving their control." I stared at her. "You're the first man in your family who ever said no, Ethan," she continued. "They can't stand it, and they can't punish you the old way anymore." "What old way?" Mia looked down. "They used to punish you with shame." That was true. When I was younger, shame was their favorite weapon. If I got a B instead of an A, they'd compare me to Luke. If I dated someone they didn't approve of, they'd insult her in front of me. If I showed emotion, my dad would look at me like I was weak. So I learned to swallow everything. And now they'd found a new weapon, my son.
Mia reached into a drawer and pulled out her phone. She opened a voice memo and pressed play. At first, it was muffled noise. Then my mother's voice. "Sweetheart, has Daddy ever made you feel uncomfortable?" My heart stopped. Noah's little voice followed. "I don't know." My sister Haley chimed in, too cheerful. "It's okay. Just tell us the truth, Noah. If Daddy ever hurts you, you have to tell Grandma so she can protect you." Protect you? From me? The recording ended. I stood there frozen. My wife, my separated wife, had recorded it because she knew nobody would believe her without proof. Mia whispered, "They don't know I have it." I looked at her, eyes burning. "How did you get this?" Mia's jaw tightened. "Noah accidentally pressed record on my phone when we were at their house. He was playing with it." Accidental. Or maybe not. Maybe my son felt something was wrong and didn't know how to say it, so he recorded. 7 years old, and he already understood danger. I wanted to cry. I wanted to punch a wall. Instead, I whispered, "We're going to stop them." Mia nodded. "How?" I breathed in slowly. "We do it smart. We do it clean. We do it in a way the court will respect." Mia's eyes searched mine. "Ethan, what are you thinking?" I looked toward Noah on the couch, sleeping peacefully, unaware his innocence was being used as a weapon. I said quietly, "I'm going to gather evidence." "Against them?" I nodded. "Against my own blood." Mia exhaled. "They'll hate you forever." I didn't blink. "They already hate me," I said. "They just hide it behind family dinners." I pulled my phone out and opened my notes. Step 1, document every visit, every conversation. Step 2, stop letting Noah go there alone. Step 3, talk to a lawyer. Then Mia said something that made my skin go colder than before. "There's more," she whispered. My eyes locked on hers. "What?" Mia hesitated, then said something that felt like a knife. "Your dad already contacted someone." "Who?" Mia's jaw cracked. "Child Protective Services." The room spun. That meant my family wasn't just gossiping, they weren't just whispering. They were ready to destroy my life legally. And the scariest part? People believe grandparents. People believe a concerned family, even when they're lying. I whispered, "When?" Mia looked at the floor. "Last week." My hand shook. I wasn't defending myself against insults anymore. I was defending myself against an accusation that could ruin everything. And then I realized the most terrifying truth. This wasn't about Noah's safety. It was about my humiliation. They wanted the town to see me as a monster, and they wanted my son to grow up believing it. But I wasn't going to let that happen, not even if it meant burning my family name to the ground. The next morning, I put on my calm face, the mask I'd worn my whole life, because in war, the first man who loses control loses the battle. I picked Noah up from Mia's place and took him to breakfast. I wanted a normal moment with him before the storm. Noah ate his waffles quietly. Then, without looking up, he said, "Dad, are you in trouble?" My chest tightened. "What makes you ask that, buddy?" Noah poked at his waffle with a fork. "Grandpa said bad men go to jail." I forced my voice to stay steady. "And Grandpa said I'm a bad man?" Noah's eyes widened like he'd said too much. "I'm not supposed to tell you," he whispered. That sentence, "I'm not supposed to tell you," confirmed everything. Someone was giving my son orders. Someone was turning him into a messenger. I reached across the table and gently held Noah's hand. "Noah, listen to me. You are never in trouble for telling me the truth." He looked at me like he wanted to believe it. "But Grandma said secrets are important." Secrets. Of course she did. Because secrets are how people like my mother survive. They hide behind secrets. They feed on secrets. I nodded slowly. "Okay, let's talk about secrets." Noah leaned in. I lowered my voice. There are good secrets, like a surprise birthday gift. Noah smiled slightly. And there are bad secrets, when someone tells you not to tell mommy or daddy something that makes you scared or confused. Noah's face changed. He looked away. My heart cracked. Has someone told you to keep a bad secret? I asked softly. Noah swallowed. His eyes got glossy. Then he whispered, barely audible. Grandma said if I tell you what she said, you'll get mad and leave me like Uncle Luke left his dog. I almost stood up right there. Luke's dog. Last year, my brother Luke got a German Shepherd, posted photos with it for 2 weeks like he was Dog Dad of the Year. Then one day, the dog disappeared. Luke claimed it ran away, but I always suspected something worse. Now my mother was using that story to threaten my son emotionally? I clenched my jaw so hard it hurt. Noah whispered, Grandma said you leave people. My throat burned. That wasn't an accident. That was a narrative, a story they were writing about me, a story where I was selfish and dangerous, and they were the heroes. I took a deep breath. Noah, I will never leave you. Noah's lips trembled. Promise? I swear on everything, I said. He stared at me for a long time. Then he whispered, Then why did you leave Grandma's house crying that day? My heart stopped. What day? I asked. Noah looked confused, like he didn't even know where the memory came from. That day, when you were yelling and Grandma was crying, and Grandpa told you to get out. I stared at him like the floor disappeared beneath me, because I didn't remember that day. I didn't remember ever being thrown out of their house, not in front of Noah, not yelling, not crying. I forced a smile, but inside I was freezing. Noah, when did that happen? Noah frowned. I don't know. I saw it. You saw it? Where? Noah hesitated. On Aunt Haley's phone. My blood turned to ice, because that meant only one thing. They had shown my son a video of me, a video I had never seen, a video that apparently showed me as unstable, as dangerous, as the villain. I paid the check with trembling hands, and in the car, as Noah buckled up, I asked casually, Hey buddy, can you show me the video later? Noah's eyes widened. No, I'm not allowed. Why not? I asked, heart pounding. Noah looked down and whispered, Because Aunt Haley said, if you see it, you'll hurt her. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. My sister had created a monster story in my son's mind. And worse, there was a video out there. A video of me losing control, or a video that looked like I did, and I didn't know what it was yet. But I knew one thing. If my family was using a video as their weapon, then my only chance was to get that video and expose the truth, even if the truth destroyed everything. That afternoon, I did something I never thought I'd do. I went to my parents' house, and I acted normal. Not because I forgave them, because I needed access. I needed to see what they were hiding. I pulled into their driveway with Noah in the back seat. My mother came out first, smiling like we were a happy family again. "Oh, my sweet boy," she squealed, reaching for Noah. Noah didn't hug her right away. He looked at me first. That tiny hesitation made me proud and heartbroken. My mother noticed it too. Her smile tightened for half a second, then returned. That's my mother's gift. She can make hatred look like kindness. My father stood behind her, arms crossed. He gave me the look he always gave me, like I was a guest who overstayed his welcome. Then Haley appeared at the door, phone already in hand, filming. "Say hi, Noah," she chirped, like we were actors, like she was directing a show. I forced a calm smile. "Haley, why are you recording?" She laughed. "Memories, Ethan, relax." I nodded like I believed her.
Then I walked inside. I didn't speak much. I watched. The living room felt the same, but everything felt sharper, like the furniture itself knew I didn't belong. Noah sat on the carpet again. My mother sat next to him, guiding his hands as he played. Haley hovered, recording random moments, and my father watched me like a security camera. I waited. I waited for them to slip. It didn't take long. My mother brought out cookies and said sweetly, "Noah, tell Daddy what we talked about being brave." Noah looked at me, nervous. My mother rubbed his back. "Go ahead." Noah whispered, "I have to tell the truth, even if I'm scared." My chest tightened. "That's right," my mother said, voice glowing with fake pride, "even if it makes someone angry." There it was again. Angry. Always angry. They wanted my son to associate truth with Dad's anger. A trap. I smiled gently at Noah. "That's good, buddy. We always tell the truth." Haley tilted her phone closer to me, like she wanted that sentence recorded. Then she said, almost casually, "And Daddy knows what happens when people lie, right, Ethan?" I stared at her. "What do you mean?" I asked calmly. Haley shrugged. "Just consequences." My father cleared his throat. "Boys like you always think you're above consequences." Boys like you. Not son. Not Ethan. A category. I nodded slowly. "Dad, I'm not here to fight." My mother leaned in with an innocent smile. "Then why are you here, honey?" I met her eyes. "To pick up my son and to make sure he's okay." For the first time, her smile slipped, just a fraction, like a crack in glass. "Of course he's okay. He's safer here than anywhere." Safer. That word again. I glanced at Haley's phone. She wasn't filming Noah anymore. She was filming me. My heart pounded, but my face stayed calm. Then Noah said something that changed the air completely. He looked up at my mother and asked, "Grandma, can we watch the video again?" My mother froze. My father's eyes narrowed. Haley's phone dropped slightly. I tried not to react. "What video, buddy?" I asked softly. Noah looked at me then, confused. "The one where Daddy yelled." My stomach clenched. My mother's face hardened for 1 second, then she laughed loudly like it was nothing. "Oh, honey, that was just a grown-up video, not important." Noah frowned. "But you said Daddy is scary like that." Silence. Real silence, the kind that makes your ears ring. Haley's phone immediately lifted again. My father spoke fast. "Noah, go to your room for a minute." Noah hesitated. My mother's voice sharpened. "Now, sweetheart." Noah stood slowly and walked away. The second he disappeared, my mother turned to me. Her smile was gone. Now she was a queen without a mask. "You're causing confusion," she said coldly. I blinked. "I'm his father." My father stood up. "You've always been dramatic. Your mother is just trying to protect Noah from your moods." I leaned forward slightly. "My moods or my lies?" Haley smirked. "Be careful, Ethan. You don't want to say things you can't take back." I stared at her. "What video did you show my son?" Haley's eyes shined with amusement. "What video?" My mother crossed her arms. "There is no video." I smiled, calm, controlled. "Okay, then let me see Haley's phone." Haley laughed. "Absolutely not." My father stepped closer. "Don't you dare touch her phone." I nodded slowly. So, the video was real, and it was hidden. I stood up and grabbed Noah's jacket from the chair. "I'm leaving." My mother's voice turned sweet as soon as possible. "Ethan, don't punish Noah because you're upset." I turned back, eyes steady. "You're the only ones punishing him." Then I walked to Noah's room. He was sitting on the bed, clutching his stuffed shark like a shield. "Hey, buddy, we're going home." Noah looked relieved, but scared too. As we walked out, I felt Haley's eyes on my back, and I knew that video was their weapon, and they were going to use it soon. That night,
I did what my family never expected from me. I stopped trying to keep peace. I called a lawyer. His name was Mr. Collins, a family law attorney with a voice like steel. I told him everything. The whispers, the questions, the safe language, the CPS call. He listened in silence. Then he said, "Ethan, this is parental alienation." I'd heard the term before, but hearing it applied to my life made me nauseous. "Can they actually take Noah?" I asked. Mr. Collins sighed. "Not easily, but they can drag you through hell trying." "In the CPS report?" "That's the dangerous part," he said. "Even a false report can cause investigations, interviews, emotional damage." I stared at the wall. "What do I do?" "You document everything," he said, "and you stay calm no matter what. They want you to explode." I swallowed. "There's a video." Mr. Collins paused. "A video of what?" "I don't know," I admitted. "My son said it shows me yelling. I've never seen it. I don't remember it." Mr. Collins' voice sharpened. "Then it could be edited or staged." That thought made my blood freeze. Edited. My sister Haley was the type who loved social media. She knew how to cut clips, how to twist moments. I remembered her smiling at Thanksgiving while filming everything, like she was collecting material. I said quietly, "How do I get it?" Mr. Collins replied, "You don't steal it. You catch them using it." "Using it where?" "In court," he said, "or CPS." Then he added, "But we can get ahead of them." "How?" "We can request a custody evaluation," he said. "We can request supervised visits at their house. We can show pattern." I leaned back, shaking. "This is my family." "They stopped acting like family when they weaponized your child," he said coldly. After I hung up, I sat on the floor of my bedroom in the dark. Noah was asleep in his room. I could hear his soft breathing through the baby monitor I never bothered to turn off. It used to feel silly. Now it felt like the only proof of peace I still had. Then my phone buzzed. A voicemail. Unknown number. I pressed play. A woman's voice, professional, calm. "Hello, Mr. Carter. This is Miss Richardson with Child Protective Services. We received a report and would like to schedule an interview." My heart stopped. They moved faster than I expected. My hands shook so badly I almost dropped the phone. The message continued. "We will need to speak to your child as well. Please contact us within 24 hours. I replayed it. Then again. My throat went dry. Because this wasn't a rumor anymore. This wasn't just my family being toxic. This was now a legal machine. And once CPS is involved, your name changes forever, whether you're guilty or not. I walked into Noah's room and stared at him sleeping. His cheeks were flushed, peaceful. He looked so innocent it made me want to scream. How could anyone use a child like this? How could my mother, who cried when she watched sad movies, be capable of this? Then I remembered something I hadn't allowed myself to think before. My mother only cries for things she wants people to notice. She never cried for me when I needed her. The next day, CPS arrived. A woman in her 40s with neat hair and calm eyes. She smiled politely. "Mr. Carter, we're just here to ensure the child is safe." Safe. Always that word. I welcomed her in. I offered coffee. I kept my voice steady, because I knew one wrong move could become a sentence in her report. She walked through my home, checked Noah's room, asked about routines, discipline, parenting. Then she said, "We'd like to speak to Noah alone." My stomach twisted. I nodded anyway, because saying no would look suspicious. Noah sat at the table with his stuffed shark. Miss Richardson leaned down and smiled. "Hi, Noah. You can tell me anything, okay?" Noah nodded, but he looked terrified. Then she asked, "Does your dad ever yell at you?" Noah's eyes flickered toward the hallway, like he was listening for someone. He whispered, "Sometimes." My blood ran cold, because I almost never yell. Not at Noah, not at anyone. Miss Richardson nodded slowly. "Does your dad ever scare you?" Noah hesitated, and then he said the sentence that shattered me. "Grandma said I have to say yes." I froze. Miss Richardson froze too. She blinked. "Grandma said what, Noah?" Noah's lips trembled. "She said if I don't say it, Daddy will take me away from Grandma forever." The air in the room turned heavy. Miss Richardson slowly leaned back, and in that moment, for the first time, I felt hope. Because my son had spoken. Not a coached answer, not a planted lie. The truth. But I also felt something else. Fear. Because if my family realized Noah had told the truth, they would panic. And desperate people do dangerous things. After CPS left, I locked the door and slid down against it like my legs no longer worked. Noah sat on the couch hugging his shark. He looked like he'd just survived something he didn't understand. I sat beside him and pulled him close. "You did so good," I whispered. "I'm proud of you." Noah's voice was tiny. "Am I in trouble?" "No," I said instantly. "Never. You told the truth. That's brave." He stared at me for a long moment. Then he asked, "Dad, are you going to go to jail?" My throat tightened. "Nobody. I'm not going anywhere." Noah nodded slowly, but he didn't look convinced. That's what poison does. Even after you stop feeding it, the body still feels sick. I called Mia and told her what Noah said. She covered her mouth on the phone. "Oh my God," she whispered. "He told them Grandma coached him?" "Yes," I said. Mia exhaled shakily. "That's huge." But then her voice changed. "Ethan, be careful." "Why?" Mia hesitated. "Because your family won't stop now. They're too deep." She was right, and I felt it in my bones. That evening, my father called me. Not my mother, not Haley, my father. That alone told me something shifted. His voice was calm, almost polite. "Ethan, we need to talk." I kept my voice neutral. "About what?" He cleared his throat. "About this misunderstanding." "Misunderstanding? A CPS report isn't a misunderstanding, it's warfare." "I'm not coming," I said. His voice hardened slightly. "You don't want to do this the hard way." I laughed once, dry, bitter. "You mean like calling CPS? That hard way?" Silence. Then my father said something I will never forget. "You're embarrassing the family." That was it. Not, "We miss Noah," not, "We're worried," not, "Let's fix this," just reputation. I replied, "Good." Then I hung up. 10 minutes later, Haley texted me, "You really want to ruin everyone's life? Think about Noah." I stared at the message. Think about Noah? As if they hadn't been using him like a chess piece. I didn't respond. Instead, I did something else. I drove to my parents' house, not to argue, to retrieve proof. I parked across the street. Their curtains were half closed, but I saw movement. I waited. 30 minutes. Then I saw Haley step outside with her phone, talking loudly as she walked to her car. She looked smug, like she was winning. That's when I realized something. Her phone wasn't just her toy, it was their weapon. If I could get that video, I could destroy their whole narrative. Not by shouting, not by fighting, by exposing the truth. I followed her, from a distance. She drove to a coffee shop, went inside. I stayed in the car, heart hammering. This felt insane, but I wasn't chasing drama, I was chasing my son's future. Haley sat near the window, scrolling her phone, laughing to herself. I watched her. Then she stood and went to the restroom, leaving her bag on the chair. My mind screamed, "Don't do it," but another voice screamed louder, "She's destroying you." I stepped out of the car, walked into the shop like I belonged there. My palms sweated. I moved toward her table. Her bag was open. Her phone was inside, unlocked. My breath stopped. I reached in, grabbed it, and walked out as calmly as I could, like I was taking my own property, like I wasn't stealing, like I was recovering the truth. Once in my car, I locked the doors and drove. My hands shook violently as I opened the gallery. There were folders, so many folders. Tokens. Noah. Ethan. My stomach turned. I clicked Ethan, and there it was, a video titled Proof. I pressed play. At first, it showed my parents' living room, then me, standing frustrated, my voice raised. But the audio sounded strange, sharper, more aggressive than I remembered. Then the clip cut and cut again, like it was stitched together. Then it ended with my mother crying, saying, "Please don't scare Noah like this." The video looked like I was a monster, but I remembered that day. Not like this. I remembered my mother yelling first. I remembered my father blocking the door. I remembered Haley filming, smiling. This video wasn't reality. It was editing, a performance, a lie. And now, I finally had it.
I didn't go home immediately. I couldn't, because the moment I walked into my house, I knew I'd collapse. So I pulled into an empty parking lot and watched the video again and again. Each time, I noticed something new. A missing sentence, a jump cut, a moment where my mouth moved but the audio didn't match. Haley had made me look violent without ever showing violence. She didn't need to fake a punch, she just needed to fake a personality. That's how manipulation works. I called Mr. Collins. He answered fast, like he'd been expecting chaos. "Ethan, I have the video," I said. Silence. Then, "Do not send it to anyone yet." "I won't," I promised. His voice tightened. "Can you prove it's edited?" "I think so," I said. "There are cuts." "Good," he said. "Bring it to me, immediately. We'll have a forensic expert review it." Forensic. That word felt like a lifeline, because for the first time, this wasn't my word against theirs. This was technology against manipulation. Then he said something else. "Ethan, did you steal this phone?" I paused. "Recovered," I said. He exhaled. "Be honest." "Yes," I admitted. There was a long pause. Then he said quietly, "I'm not judging you, but you can't keep it. Return it, or it could backfire." Backfire? Of course it could. Everything I did could backfire. That's what my family counted on. They counted on me panicking. They counted on me making a mistake. But I wasn't thinking like a scared son anymore. I was thinking like a father defending his child. That night, I met Mr. Collins in his office. He copied the file. Then he looked me in the eyes. "This is serious," he said. "Your sister is manufacturing evidence." My chest tightened. "What can we do?" "We can go on offense," he said. "Meaning?" "We file for an emergency order," he replied. "Restrict contact between Noah and your parents until evaluation is done." I stared. "Is that possible?" "Yes," he said, "especially with CPS involvement and the coaching statement Noah made." I exhaled shakily. For the first time in days, I felt like the ground under me wasn't collapsing. But then Mr. Collins said something else. "Ethan, I want you to prepare yourself." "For what?" He leaned back. "People like this don't stop when they're exposed. They escalate." Escalate. That word haunted me. I drove home and checked on Noah. He was asleep,
curled up small. I sat on the edge of his bed and whispered, "I'm not letting them take you." The next day, Haley called me. Her voice was shaking with rage. "You took my phone." I didn't deny it. "Yes." "You're insane. Give it back right now." I smiled calmly. "I will." She hissed, "You're gonna regret this." I said softly, "No, you are." Then I hung up. I returned the phone that afternoon through a neutral third party, no face-to-face, because I didn't want a scene. Scenes were her food. Drama was her oxygen. But I knew she'd already realized something. I'd seen the folders. I'd seen the proof, and she was afraid. 2 days later, a court notice arrived. My parents were filing for grandparent visitation, and attached was Haley's video. They were pushing it into court. They were trying to label me unfit officially. But now, I had the video too, and more importantly, I had the truth behind it. The next week, we were in court. A small room, a judge with tired eyes. My family sat on the other side like innocent victims. My mother dabbed fake tears. My father sat stiff like a saint. Haley looked confident. She even smiled at me like we were playing a game she already won. The judge looked at me. "Mr. Carter," he said, "there are allegations that your son feels unsafe with you." My stomach tightened. Then my mother spoke softly. "We're just worried, Your Honor. We love Noah. We want him protected. Protected. Always protected." Then Haley stood up and said, "And we have proof." She played the video on a screen. The room watched me as the edited monster version of me shouted. My mother cried. My son looked frightened. I felt the judge's eyes on me like a weight. Then Mr. Collins stood up. "Your Honor, we request the full, unedited footage." Haley's smile twitched. Mr. Collins continued, "And we request forensic analysis." "Forensic?" The judge frowned. "Yes," Mr. Collins said, "because this video appears manipulated." For the first time, my family's perfect calm cracked. My father shifted. My mother blinked fast. Haley's lips pressed tight. The judge leaned forward. "Ms. Carter," he looked at Haley, "do you have the original recording device?" Haley hesitated. Then she said, It's my phone." The judge replied, "Then submit it." Haley's face drained, and I realized something powerful. The truth doesn't need to scream. It just needs one clean light.
Haley never submitted her phone voluntarily. She tried to claim it was lost, then broken, then reset. But the judge wasn't stupid, and neither was my lawyer. Mr. Collins presented what I had, my copy of the video file, with metadata showing the edits. He presented the CPS notes, where Noah stated he'd been coached. He presented Mia's recording, where my mother asked leading questions. And slowly, the room changed. My mother's tears didn't look holy anymore. They looked strategic. My father's silence didn't look dignified. It looked guilty. Haley tried to keep smiling, but her hands trembled. Then the judge asked the most important question of the day. Why would you coach a child to fear his father? My mother stood up. She put one hand on her chest like she was in a movie. "We would never," she whispered. "We were only trying to protect him." The judge didn't blink. From what? My mother's mouth opened, then closed, because she had no answer that didn't reveal her true motive. Then my father spoke, voice stern. "My son has always been unstable," he said. I almost laughed. Always? They were rewriting my entire life. Then Mr. Collins asked permission to call Mia as a witness. Mia walked in and sat calmly. She wasn't emotional. She wasn't dramatic. She was clear. She told the judge exactly what she saw, how my mother criticized her, how Haley filmed everything, how they tried to make Noah choose them. Then the judge asked Mia, "Did Mr. Carter ever harm the child?" Mia looked straight at my parents, then at the judge. "No," she said. "He's a good father. That's why they hate him." The room went silent. My mother flinched like she'd been slapped because Mia said what everyone was afraid to say. This wasn't about safety, it was about control. The judge leaned back and said, "I'm issuing a temporary order. No unsupervised contact between the child and the grandparents or aunt until evaluation is completed." My chest collapsed with relief. I didn't smile, I didn't celebrate, I just breathed. My family's faces turned cold. My mother's tears vanished instantly. My father looked at me like I was dead to him. Haley stared at me with hatred that wasn't even hidden anymore. As we walked out, my mother whispered, "You've destroyed this family." I stopped and turned. "No," I said calmly. "You did. I just refuse to be your victim." Then I walked away. But the story wasn't over, not even close. Because as we reached the parking lot, Mia pulled me aside. Her eyes were wide with fear. "Ethan," she whispered. "What?" She swallowed hard. "I found something else." My heart dropped. "What kind of something?" Mia hesitated, then handed me her phone. On the screen was an email sent from Haley's email account to someone named Dr. Leonard. Subject, "Next steps, Noah's statement." I stared at it. Dr. Leonard? Who was that? Then I saw the attachment title, "Script for Noah.pdf." My blood turned to ice. A script! They literally wrote my son a script. But that wasn't even the worst part, because the email included one sentence. "Once Noah says the final line, Ethan is finished." Final line? What final line? What were they planning to make my son say? And why did it sound like a weapon designed to kill my life? I felt sick, not because I feared my family anymore, because I realized they weren't done. They were just getting smarter. That night, I couldn't eat. I couldn't drink. I just stared at that PDF like it was a bomb. Mia sat across from me, arms crossed, shaking. "We have to open it," she whispered. I nodded slowly and tapped the file. A document appeared. At the top, it said, "Noah, safe words and statements, practice daily." My hands trembled as I scrolled. It was written like a training manual. Lines like, "When they ask if dad yells, say, 'Yes, a lot.' If they ask where dad touches you, say, 'My private areas.' If you forget, look at grandma and she will help you remember. If you cry, it's okay. Crying makes them believe you." I covered my mouth. I couldn't stop shaking. They were going to accuse me of something unthinkable. Not just violence, not just anger. They were trying to destroy me as a man, as a father, as a human. Mia whispered, "This is evil." I stared at Noah's room door. He was asleep inside. Innocent, unaware adults were writing lies for him like a script. I wanted to burn my parents' house down, not literally, but emotionally. I wanted them to feel the pain they were causing. But I knew rage wasn't the answer. Rage would make me look guilty. So instead, I called Mr. Collins. He answered fast. When I told him about the PDF, he went silent. Then he said, "Ethan, this is criminal." "What do we do?" I asked. He replied, "We involve the police." The word police made my stomach twist, because once police are involved, there is no going back. My family would never forgive me. But I didn't care. They were trying to make my son say words that would follow him forever. So the next morning, I went to the station. I showed the detective the email, the PDF, the CPS report, the edited video. The detective's face hardened. "This is coached testimony," he said. "They're manufacturing allegations." He leaned back. "We're opening an investigation." For the first time, I saw fear in my family's eyes. Not directly, but through their silence. They stopped calling, stopped texting. It was like they were regrouping. Then, something happened that made my skin crawl. Noah woke up from a nightmare, screaming. I ran into his room. He was shaking violently. "Dad," he cried, "don't let Grandma take my mouth." I froze. "What?" I whispered. Noah sobbed,
clutching his face. "She said if I don't say what she wants, she'll take my mouth and I won't be able to talk." I hugged him so tight I could barely breathe. That wasn't coaching anymore. That was terror. That was emotional abuse. I whispered, "No one is taking anything from you." Noah cried, "She said she'll make you disappear." Disappear. What did that even mean? And why did it suddenly feel bigger than a custody fight? Later that day, Mia called me, voice shaking. "Ethan, your mom came to my work." "What?" "She cornered me in the parking lot," Mia whispered. "She said, 'You don't understand who you're fighting. We already erased one man from this family.'" My heart stopped. "Erased one man?" Mia swallowed. "I think she meant your uncle, the one nobody talks about." My uncle, the family mystery, the black hole, the name I was never allowed to ask about. Suddenly, everything clicked. My family didn't just control people, they erased them. And now, they were trying to erase me.
That night, I dug through old boxes in my closet. Things I hadn't touched since childhood. School papers, old photos, birthday cards. I was searching for something I didn't even understand yet. My uncle. Uncle Daniel. My dad's younger brother. The one who moved away. The one who was never mentioned. When I was 10, I asked my father once, "Why don't we visit Uncle Daniel?" My father's face went ice cold. He said, "We don't talk about him." I never asked again. But now I needed answers. I found an old photo album. Most pages were filled with family holidays. Then I reached a page where the photo had been ripped out. Just a jagged edge. My heart raced. Someone removed him, physically, from the memory. I flipped the page. Another ripped out photo. Then another, like my family had performed surgery on their own history. I called my father. For the first time in weeks, he answered instantly, like he'd been waiting for me to break. "What do you want?" he snapped. I kept my voice calm. "Tell me about Uncle Daniel." Silence. Heavy. Then my father said, "Why are you bringing that up?" I replied, "Because Mom said you erased him, and now you're trying to erase me." His breathing changed. He finally said, "Daniel betrayed the family." "How?" I asked. "He was unstable," my father said. "Like you." I laughed bitterly. "So you erase men who don't obey?" My father growled, "Watch your mouth." I whispered, "No, you watch yours. I have proof now." He went quiet. Then he said one sentence that confirmed everything. "If you keep digging, you'll lose Noah." My blood ran cold. A threat. Clear. Direct. I hung up. That night I went online and searched. Daniel Carter, Ohio, 2005. Nothing. No social media. No obituary. No record. Like he never existed. But then I searched a different way. I searched police reports, old court records, and finally, I found something. A small report from years ago. A man named Daniel Carter filed a restraining order against my father. Reason? Harassment. Threats. I stared at the screen like it was on fire. My father threatened his own brother. Then Daniel vanished. The next day, I met Detective Harris, the one handling my case. I showed him the restraining order record. He frowned. "Interesting." I said quietly, "My family doesn't just lie. They erase people." Detective Harris leaned forward. "Ethan, are you saying you think they harmed him?" I swallowed. "I don't know, but I think they destroyed him." He nodded slowly. "We'll look into it." Then everything moved fast. CPS closed the case, temporary, pending court. The police investigation into coaching intensified. My mother was interviewed.
Hallie was questioned. And my father snapped. He showed up at my house at night, banging on the door, yelling my name. Noah woke up screaming. I kept the chain lock on and spoke through the door. "Leave," I said. My father shouted, "You think you're a hero? You're a disgrace." Noah cried, "Dad!" Then my father said something that made me feel sick. "Open the door, or I'll tell them what you really are." I whispered back, "You mean what you made me look like?" He hissed, "I know things, Ethan." I replied quietly, "So do I." I didn't open. Eventually he left, but I knew this was the final stage. When manipulators lose control, they don't apologize, they escalate. And my family was about to play their last card, the card they saved for the end.
2 weeks later, the final court hearing arrived. This time, it wasn't about grandparent visitation. It wasn't even about CPS anymore. It was about custody, about whether I was fit to be Noah's father. My family walked in wearing their best clothes. My mother carried tissues. Haley carried her phone like a weapon, even though she wasn't allowed to use it now. My father walked like he owned the building, like the judge was his employee. Noah wasn't there. Thank God. He didn't deserve to sit in a courtroom and watch adults destroy each other with lies. The judge reviewed the evidence. The forensic report confirmed the video was edited. The email and PDF proved coaching. The CPS note proved my son was pressured. Everything pointed to one truth. My family was lying. So the judge asked my mother directly, "Mrs. Carter, why did you do this?" My mother stood slowly. Her face was calm, and that's when I realized something terrifying. She wasn't ashamed. She believed she was right. She looked at the judge and said, "Because Ethan doesn't deserve Noah." My chest tightened. She continued, "He's not loyal. He's not obedient. He married the wrong woman. He turned his back on us." Then she looked at me, her eyes sharp. "I raised him," she said. "Noah belongs with us." Belongs. Like my son was property. The judge frowned. That is not how parenting works. Haley suddenly stood up. "Your Honor," she said, voice trembling with anger, "we have one more thing." My lawyer snapped, "Objection!" But the judge raised his hand. "Let her speak." Haley held up a printed statement. I have a written statement from Noah," she said. My blood froze. "No, not my son, not again." Haley read out loud. "Noah says, 'My dad told me if I tell the truth, Grandma will disappear.'" I stared in shock. That was reversed. They took Noah's fear and twisted it to make me the threat. My lawyer stood up furious. "That statement is not admissible. The child is not present. There is evidence of coaching." The judge nodded. "Correct. It is not admissible." Haley's face twisted with rage. And then, without thinking, she blurted out the truth. She snapped, "He was supposed to say the final line." The room went silent. The judge leaned forward. "Final line?" Haley froze. My mother's eyes widened. My father whispered her name like warning, but it was too late. The judge stared. "Miss Carter, what do you mean, final line?" Haley panicked. She looked at my mother. My mother's face turned pale. Haley whispered, "The script. He was supposed to say the script." Script. The word echoed through the room like a gunshot. The judge slammed the gavel. "Enough," he said sharply. "I've heard everything I need to hear." My mother tried to speak. "Your Honor," the judge cut her off. "This court will not tolerate manipulation of a child. This is not concern. This is control." Then he looked at me. "Mr. Carter, you will be granted primary custody." My breath left my body. I almost collapsed. He continued,
No contact order for the grandparents and aunt until further evaluation. Any violation will result in criminal consequences. My mother began crying, real crying this time, not because she loved Noah, because she lost. My father looked at me with pure hatred, like I'd killed something sacred. I stood slowly, not proud, not loud, just steady. I looked at my family and said quietly, "You didn't steal my money." I paused. "You tried to steal my son by stealing my dignity." Then I walked out. That night, Noah fell asleep on my chest while we watched a cartoon. His small fingers held my shirt, like he was holding on to proof I wouldn't disappear. I kissed his forehead, and I whispered the truth my family could never understand. You don't earn love by controlling people. You earn love by protecting them. And from that day forward, I stopped being my parents' son. I became my son's father. For real.